Hey there, everybody. So it's really windy today, so you'll have to bear with me as I'm trying to keep the car straight on the road. But I had a couple thoughts about motorsports and how that relates to electric vehicles. Where do we go with electric vehicles in motorsports? But to start that off, I want to talk about two events that are kind of big events in the summer for me and my son. If you follow this channel, if you subscribe to it, you probably noticed that I put up some videos from Watkins Glen IMSA Weekend, which was a couple weeks ago. And it's the sports car races. Prototypes used to be called Group C, and other classes of cars. The Michelin Cup is there. The Mustang Challenge is there. Anyway, there's a lot of really great racing that happens on IMSA Weekend at Watkins Glen. So I'll talk about that real quick. We'll talk about the upcoming weekend here in Pittsburgh, which is the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, which is also a big car event for me and my son every summer. And how does that relate to, the future of motorsports as I see it, kind of from like a philosophical standpoint, and how it relates to electric vehicles. And there's a reason why I'm thinking about that. Anyway, let's get into it. So first of all, Watkins Glen, New York, the IMSA races. That track is a historic racetrack. Used to host Formula One races back in the day. Then it had IndyCar. They still do NASCAR races up there. NASCAR has put a lot of money into the track. It has incredible facilities, very expansive. I don't know what the experience is like on NASCAR weekend, but I will tell you that when you go for the IMSA weekend, it's really great. You get general admission tickets. They're not that expensive. I think if you order in advance, they're like $90 a day. Oh, no, they're not $90 a day. They're $90 for the whole weekend. That's Thursday through Sunday, general admission. And you have full run of the track. You don't have to sit in a reserved seat. You go anywhere you want to go. And infield, outfield, you can go down into the boot part of the track, which is really great for getting really up close to the cars. You can go along the long straightaway, and they're whizzing by you, flat out at, maybe 20 feet away. Bring your earplugs, really loud. But that is a superb event. It really is amazing. And the best part about it is that, it's kind of a choose your own adventure. That you can go anywhere around the track you want to, and that includes in the paddock. And then IMSA does a lot of great things for fans, like having the pit lane open for certain periods where you can actually go out onto the pit lane and see how the pit boxes are set up. The cars are there, the drivers are there. You can talk to people. You can do all the things. And they hand out some, stickers and driver cards, and you can get autographs. And it's a really, really great event from a race fan perspective, and from a race fan perspective. From a racing perspective and as a fan perspective is what I'm trying to say. And I can't encourage you more. If you are at all interested, you're going to want to get accommodations figured out really quick. We have family in the area, which is where we stay, and you're not invited. I'm sorry. But if you don't have family in the area, there's just not a lot of places to stay. So you'll want to line that up as soon as the event dates are announced. But really, really great weekend, and really a lot of great time with my son, which I'm not going to get all weepy and teary-eyed about right now, but he knows how I feel. And that assumes that he even watches these videos, which we all know parents aren't cool, so why would he? But if he does, you know how much it means to me. So this is the second year we've done it, and of course IMSA, especially the prototype classes, they're so the HYPERCAR they call it here, but it's Group C prototypes. They are so competitive nowadays, and the cars are really phenomenal. And again, you right up next to them, walk the paddock. I think last year he got clipped a little bit in the ankle by a BMW. He's fine, but we were there watching them start up the cars, testing the engines. It's a great event. Now, having said that, let me go over to the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, which is another great event on what appears to be a very historic track. It's not actually a track, but it's the Serpentine Drive in Schenley Park in the Oakland part of Pittsburgh. And it could be any number of old tracks. It's got big stone walls and things like that. So when they race the vintage cars around there, if you put that picture in black and white or washed out color, you'd swear it was a news coverage from an old race at the time. And I mean, just, I don't know how many cars show up for that, but it is a huge event and it's free. Now, we do pay to park in one of the car show areas simply because it gives you a nice home base and you don't have to worry about parking, on the side streets and stuff, which gets a little bit weird, or waiting for a shuttle bus. You're parked right there by the track. So we do pay a little bit. It's not that much. I think the advance registration for that was like $40 or $50 for 2 days of parking on the golf course. And you're right there trackside. Good to stash your chairs or stash your extra food, your lunch, your extra water, things like that. But it is a superb event. You absolutely can go for free. And if you're at all interested in cars, not even vintage racing, not even vintage cars, but just interested in cars, you should go. There's everything there. There are trucks there. There are motorcycles there. There's modern cars, old cars, race cars, street cars, classic cars. I mean, just everything. On Saturday, it's displayed more as a car show while they're doing qualifying, and then on Sunday, they're doing the actual races, and the cars kind of mix up a little bit more, and you'll see really interesting things come out for the patron parking. As always, you walk the car park and you find cool stuff. We did that at Watkins Glen as well, and found some really interesting things in the parking areas. So anyway, highly recommend that as an event, and I don't just say that because I love Pittsburgh, because I do. Now, having said that, both of these events are great, and they're showcases for internal combustion engines, obviously. And I was watching the NASCAR race in Chicago. I think they call it the Grant Park something. And I noticed as part of that event that they had what they said was a kind of a prototype crossover electric vehicle NASCAR that it looks like a Chevy Blazer to me. The Chevy Blazer EV made into like a NASCAR, but whatever it is, it's some kind of prototype that they've got going on. And it kind of got me thinking, after spending a weekend at Watkins Glen with these really loud modern cars and looking forward to a weekend here in Pittsburgh with some really old cars. And there's something about racing that I feel like is going to be really hard to transition to electric vehicles, and maybe we shouldn't even try. I mean, honestly, maybe we really shouldn't try. Formula E has shown that there's a little bit of something missing when we take out that sound. And I don't know that I'm sure other people have talked about it. I know I have not. But I was thinking about it the other day, and I think that part of the reason is because we look at racing and we talk about racing in sort of combative terms, meaning, it's a battle on the track, and they're going out there to mix it up and fight their way to the front, and they're hunter and prey and predator and all this kind of imagery, and it's like going to war, and you have your team and the other team, and it's very highly charged competitive atmosphere from the pits all the way to what happens on the track. And all of that terminology, absent sound, loses a little something. And I think it kind of goes back to, it's battle cries. Now, racing starts with a battle cry, gentlemen, start your engines. I don't know what happens if you have electric race cars. I don't know if they do that and everything just kind of whirs a little bit. I don't know. It does seem like that doesn't work. But I keep thinking in my head the image of the guy who's on the poster for the movie 300, the Spartan, and he's just like, "Arr!" And that's kind of what racing is. And when you take a race car and you stick it out there on a track and it's whizzing around, it's either screaming because it's in front or it's screaming because it's trying to get ahead, but it's sort of like the sound is that expression of mechanical sympathy of how hard it is fighting to be in front or to get in front. And again, all that sort of like war imagery, that battle imagery, really plays well with the sound those cars make. They're just totally loud and wide open, and it's a visceral thing, and it shakes your bones if you're close enough to the track. And I think that we should not be so quick to move motor racing away from electric or away from internal combustion, because I think it would collapse. I don't think, even as I drive this electric car, which is great fun to drive, but that's for the driver. I'm all about, my attraction is G-forces. I love the turning hard, accelerating hard, braking hard. It's the G-forces that attract me, not necessarily the sound of a loud exhaust. but that's because I'm in the car and I'm in control. If I'm not in the car, I can't feel the G-force. And I think that's the thing, is from a fan perspective, the G-force is sort of like expressed as that that acceleration, all of that energy is expressed by the sound you hear. And having that expression there, having that war cry come out of the engine itself or out of the exhaust, is what gives it sort of that gladiatorial atmosphere. And I don't think electrical vehicles, I sound like Jeremy Clarkson if I call them electrical vehicles. I don't think electrical vehicles, that was a Ferrari went by and he couldn't even hear it. See, modern Ferraris are too quiet. Anyway, there's something that is lost by taking away one of your senses to do that. And you can say, well, yeah, you still hear the wind rush, or you'd get the quiet whir of the... It is not going to be the same. It is not the same. And I think that is why, as long as racing is a spectator sport, it has to have loud noises. It has to have lots of controlled explosions in a small metal box, and that's how we do it. And that's the thrill. That's the battle. That's the challenge, is to fight your way to the front, and your car is screaming to get you there. It's the expression of its raw power. And as much as I love driving electric cars and the sudden whoosh like that, it is not going to work on a racetrack, and it's not certainly going to translate onto television. So go ahead, watch a Nürburgring lap time done in a Tesla or a Rimac, and then watch it done in anything else with an engine. Volkswagen Golf. Totally different experience. Anyway, thanks for watching.